So you can start in Shavasana or with your knees bent, however you would like, lying down. Support your head and your neck. If you want a little extra cushion underneath you, I actually, under this mat and under this little rug, I have another yoga mat under there. So I have some extra cush because sometimes that's necessary. Thank you for being here this evening. I tell you, it's a very weird thing to try to explain, but I would like you to know that by you being here brings me a great amount of joy. Like if I'm having a bad day, just teaching to you in those little boxes out there makes the world better. So thank you. Thank you. And I'm glad that you're here. This is a little anonymous passage. It's impossible, said pride. It's risky, said experience. It's pointless, said reason. Give it a try, whispered the heart. Give it a try, whispered the heart. Maybe as a reminder that through all of the things that are going on, we still have got to find some space for breathing and moving and feeling joy and connecting to the heart space so that we can hopefully get that out into the world. I'm going to offer up a breathing practice today. It's first part is even length breathing, and then we'll add, if you want, turning it into box breathing. You can also just be here and breathe with your own natural rhythm. Just let your body breathe and be the observer of it. Really pay attention to the sensations of it, how it feels today, giving you some awareness. But if you'd like, we'll just, on the next several breaths, you'll notice the inhale, maybe for a count of 3 or 4 or 5, and then exhale for the same number. I'm a firm believer in not forcing this. So if the breath is 2 counts, then that's great. Exhale for 2 counts. Please don't think 10 is better than 2. They're all good numbers. And you inhale and exhale for the same count, samavriti. We do have a lot of wind, so if I'm suddenly disappeared, you'll know why. Hopefully I'm here for the whole hour. Notice if your mind wandered, come back to the counting. You can feel the heartbeat. You can touch the tip of your fingers and try to create a sensation there for the breath count. Now you may continue with this pattern, or if you'd like, you'll turn it into a box pattern. Inhale for your number, hold for that number, exhale for that number, and hold for that number. If you need to change the number, change the number. It's just going to be the same length for the inhale, hold, exhale, hold. Taking another round or two. Then allowing natural rhythm of your breath. Just let the body breathe. You can bring your hands to your heart center, connecting, but noticing the breath just as it is. And from our hearts outward, we'll send some love, some healing, something good out into the world. And release your arms, and let's take the legs long and the arms long and maybe wider. My new favorite, starfish shape, because it encourages a big deep breath. It encourages taking up space. There's a vulnerability in this, right? We're wide open, we're ready to receive. Big deep breaths in and out. One more time, whole body inhale, whole body exhale. And you'll draw your knees in toward your chest, taking an upside down child's pose, finding stillness, or of course you can rock if that feels better, gently side to side. And let your legs and arms float up into resting bug, circling ankles and wrists. Switch direction. And then feet and wrists and ankles are still, but scrunch your toes and fingers and then spread them out. Scrunching toes and fingers and spreading them out. One more time. And you'll bring your feet down and your arms down. We'll start with a very tiny little bridge. So think, press your low back down into the mat, then a tiny little lift. Hips lift, and then you lower, and then let the low back come off the mat a little bit, a very tiny little arch. Then you move the pelvis so the low back presses down, lift the hips, lower the hips, and then you shift the pelvis so there's a little, you could put like a love note or a spatula underneath your low back, not a car. So you'll do that a few more times. Pressing the back down to lift, and then releasing and allowing the arch. Finish the one that you're on and take one more. Rest is always an option and a really good one. And see when you finish, if you can find a neutral place with the pelvis so the low back is not pressing down and you're not in a big arch. So you find neutral, and we'll press down, lift the hips up, let the arms float up and over. And then we'll lower everything down. We'll do a few like this, and then we're going to change it up. Following your breath, lifting and lowering. And last one, we'll pause for a moment. When I cue the next part, you are more than welcome to adjust your breath to be where it feels good for you. We're going to add a breath at the top. So we've done this, but it's been a minute. So we inhale up, arms float up and over. Stay up for your exhale. Stay up for your inhale. And then lower down, exhale. Please follow your breath if I'm going too slowly. Inhaling up, staying up, exhale, staying up, inhale, and then rolling down, exhale, or lowering. Inhale up, stay up, exhale, stay up, inhale, lower down, exhale. Two more. When you finish, pause in either Ardha Shavasana here, just knees bent, feet on the ground, or you might like to one more time, come into starfish, what feels right for this moment. You can notice which parts of your body are touching the floor and which parts are not. And notice if there's tension or gripping in part of your body. And is there an exhale that would be a reminder to let go a little bit. Let's move to our side fetal pose. You can have a cushion for your legs. I like to add another cushion underneath my head when I'm on my side so that there's space for my shoulder. Coming on to your side body. Okay, good. I thought my mic fell off. And your legs are stacked. And you're very comfortable, head and neck. So not smushing the bottom shoulder. I want to give the shoulder some love. And then we can stack the arms and we'll take open book. So the arm floats up and over any amount. And it may, as we do this, it may end up going a little bit farther than it is as we start. But that is not the goal. The goal is just to get some thoracic movement, rib cage movement. So I have my arm straight. Of course, another option would be arm bent, like a cactus arm. Notice your breath as you do this movement, where you feel good with the inhale and the exhale. And next time you go into the open position, you might pause. So if the arm feels like, oh my gosh, it's too much, then you can rest the arm on your body. You're still in the twisting position. When your arm can be down by your side or out in the T, open book. We'll take a few breaths here. And coming back on to your side. Taking a deep inhale, maybe a sigh out, exhale, and 2 more breaths right here on this side. And you'll take your props with you as you roll over to your second side, fetal pose. Take your time setting up comfortable your head and your neck, and maybe adding the cushion between the legs. And decide bent arm or straight arm, and we'll begin that open book position, the arm reaching back behind your body, allowing the rib cage to twist and the heart and turn up toward the ceiling. Noticing as your body gets used to the movement, if you find any more range, and don't make that the goal, but just notice. Sometimes we don't want more range, less is more. And the next time you're in the open position, pause. Remember, if the arm is floating off in space, you might like to let the top arm rest on the side of the body. You'll still be in that thoracic twist. The pelvis is neutral here. Legs are stacked, so there's less twisting in the low back here, but some nice twisting in the upper back. Okay, so you're on your side now again, fetal pose, and you can pause here on the side and I'll explain what we're doing next. I'm hoping that those open book arms prepared us for our little mini hint of a back bend. So I'll give a couple of choices. When we used to have 75 bolsters and blankets and all the things, we would build something called bridge bed. So this is a very, very like nursery school version of it because it's smaller, which is the version that's going to feel really good right now. It's not too loud. So I'm making the blanket in this rectangle shape so that my butt will be on it and my shoulder blades will be off. So the top of the blanket is going to be at the bra line. I'm going to show with this gray blanket. It's very low and it's very smushy. So it's not even feeling, it's mild. I really like this variation. So top, here we go. I've got the bra line at the top of this blanket. So my shoulder blades are off and onto the mat. And then you can do anything you'd like with your legs. My suggestion is feet wide and knees together, maybe with the pillow. So a mini back bend here. And you might like cactus arms or arms in a T. Now I'm going to give one more option because if you're like, well, I would really like a bigger back bend, you can use your two pillows and you can attempt to build the same thing. It will look a little different. I'm going to show that. It's not better, it's just different. Same idea. I'm sitting on the pillow and then I need the top, my bra line at the top of the other pillow. And I have to do a little shimmy, shimmy, Cocoa Puff to get it just right. So shoulder blades are off. They're on the mat. And then again, tripod legs or any leg shape that you would like. So the pillows are quite a bit louder, but they're not as big as a bolster. So I still can find some feel good here. I want you to be able to close your eyes. I want you to be able to relax here, kind of surrender and melt into the prop. And I'll invite you now to do either the even length breathing or maybe box breathing. Regular breathing is also a wonderful choice. Now, if this whole thing is just irritating, then you can lie right down on your mat. Make your tripod legs. You don't have to worry about the back bend part, okay? That would have been nice, Terry, to say at the beginning. Notice the breath. When the mind wanders, notice the breath. We'll spend about another 2 minutes here. And if you're counting the breath, let the counting go and just let your body breathe. And to come out of this mini back bend, if your legs are straight, you'll bend them. If you're in the tripod, you just take the cushion out, but you can roll to your side off the prop. It takes a little bit of scooting and navigating, but just be mindful. You roll to the side, and then you can scoot the prop away from your body, getting it out, and eventually rolling back onto your mat, just in neutral with nothing underneath you. Of course, you can have the support for your head. And you might like to be still here in Ardha Shavasana, or there's another opportunity for starfish, which is nice. After that back bend, now we're more neutral in the spine, supported by the ground, and a little softness in the hip flexors. Another full breath here. You'll bring your arms back down, bend your knees, and you'll adjust your feet to where I want you to do this. The legs go out to the side and then come back up. So you can have your feet all the way together, or you can have a little space between them. If it feels like too much with both legs at once, you can certainly do one at a time. That'll actually feel like a little bit of core work because you don't want to just tip over. You have to use some steadiness. And just a couple more. And draw your knees in toward your chest, coming into upside down child's pose, stillness or gently rocking. And now we'll let the legs go up toward the sky, resting bug again. Let your arms float up as well. And you can be still here, or now you can take the arms and legs apart and together. Apart and together, any amount. You can also add in circling the wrists and the ankles. It makes for a lot with the brain. You can circle one direction to take the legs out, circle the other direction to bring the limbs back. Make it your very own. And just a couple more times. And let your arms come down, palms facing down. Place your heels all the way together and turn your feet out. Everybody's favorite. Lots of hip and inner thigh work here. Press the heels together, bend your knees. Keep the heels together, bend your knees. And then you press and you go back up. The slower that you go, the more joy, joy you will feel in this whole pelvic region and beyond. We'll do it a couple more times, squeezing the heels together and then bending the knees and then straightening the legs. Oh my goodness. Last time. And then we'll bring the legs down. All of that work to prepare us for Supta Baddha Konasana. Now, get the cushions nice and close. Support the legs. Let the soles of the feet touch. A few options for the arms. Soothing, very calming, is to let your hands rest on your belly. You can still do the counting of the breath if you'd like, but you'll feel the hands rise and fall, and it's a nice connection. You can also take a Shavasana arm. A little more energetic would be T arms. And then cactus arms is going to feel almost like a back bend, a little hint of a back bend. So that's the louder version. So what is it that you need in this moment? And let your eyes close, or at least let your eyelids soften. Give yourself a few breaths just to settle. Notice if you need to wiggle or adjust, and then you can settle. If you're counting your breath, you can also try box breathing for a few rounds. And if you're just observing your breath, do that. Watch your body breathing. Notice if your mind has wandered. Lovingly bring it back. Breath in, breath out. Box breathing or samavriti, equal length breath. Release the counting. We'll take just a few more breaths here, noticing. Just notice the body breathing in and breathing out. When you're ready, you can bring the legs together. Yogi's choice. Upside down child's pose here, hugging the legs in, or starfish. Which way serves your body in this moment? And you have time to do both. We'll take about, 10-ish breaths. So you'd have 5 or so breaths in each shape. Last few breaths in whichever shape you've chosen. And then you'll decide it's time to go into Shavasana, but you can decide if you would like to take legs up the wall or legs on a couch or legs on a chair. I didn't mention that earlier, but I know we haven't done an official inversion. And if you feel like being upside down, you can certainly do that. Otherwise, stretch out into Shavasana, support the thighs, add all the props that you need to allow for rest. No more breath work, really just surrendering. And this is, to me, when we think about rest and surrender and pausing, it can be very challenging. Our quote, again, from the beginning is a good reminder. It's impossible, said pride. It's risky, said experience. It's pointless, said reason. Give it a try, whispered the heart. Shavasana. Bring your awareness back to your breath. And you might notice your heart center as you take a full breath in and out. Just notice the energy of that space, of the heart center. You can begin some gentle movement, fingers and toes. And you might stretch through your whole body, or you might roll to your side into fetal pose. When you do arrive in fetal pose, just pause. Notice how you feel after your practice, after giving yourself some time to be instead of do. And you'll bring yourself up to sit. Connect your hands at your heart center. Again, we notice this area and we surrender the head to the heart as much as possible, even though we need our heads. Thank you again for being here, for practicing, for showing up, and for being adventurous. Thank you. It takes a lot of courage to show up here, and I appreciate it. Take great care. Namaste.